and welcome to the Nobody Ask Me Guy show. Guys, I'm your host, Melvin Casey Lars. Now, you know how we do it on the Nobody Ask Me Guy show. You know, we don't waste time with cookie cutter questions. We don't waste time gossiping about other people and all that kind of thing. We just kind of get right down to the brass tacks. Now, this evening, we're very, very fortunate to have with us none other than Mr. Byron Smith. Now, Coach Smith is the head men's basketball coach at Prairie A&M University. However, there are going to be a lot of things that we're going to share with you tonight that Coach Smith will be sharing with you. Coach Smith is a star. Let me say that. Let me get that right out of the way. He's a star. And in order to be a star, then you understand other stars and you understand how to make stars. So tonight we'll be talking with Coach Smith. We'll be talking about some of his stardom. He'll be talking to us about how to make stars and other athletes that he's worked with and programs that he's grown and that kind of thing. And as you guys will also hear from me, not only was he a two-time SWC all-conference player, he's also been very fortunate to garner the honor of being a two-time all-SWAC coach. Now, if that's not a star, I don't know what is. And that's not even touching the surface because he was a high school star as well. Coach Byron Smith, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Coach Lars.
Well, listen, Coach, it is great having you. A young man being reared in Bossier City, Louisiana. Now, here's a place that a lot of people haven't heard of. Now, they talk about Shreveport, as far as Louisiana go. They talk about Baton Rouge. They talk about New Orleans, and some people affectionately call it New Orleans. And whenever we travel around the world, and you've been in Australia, you've been all over the world, you've coached the Globetrotters, and you've coached college ball, etc. I know usually when people hear that you're from Louisiana, probably the first thing they think is that you are from New Orleans, because that's what everybody knows. So if you will, Coach, if you would talk to us a little bit about being from the great city of Bossier City in the state of Louisiana.
Well, Coach, first and foremost, again, I appreciate the opportunity to be on here, and I'd be remiss if I didn't, give honor to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the head of my life, and obviously he's been a mainstay for me in this journey. But you're right, Coach. I've been a lot of places, and basketball has given me opportunities to travel the world and meet a lot of interesting people. I've been in a lot of rooms. I've sat in a lot of seats. But again, you're absolutely correct when you say when they hear that I'm from Louisiana, because obviously New Orleans being the attention getting place in Louisiana, and I often have to share with people that I'm from Shreveport because they never heard of Bossier City. So that's kind of, and I say, hey, it's really just really one. It's two cities in one, North Louisiana, but unbelievably proud of my roots in Bossier City. That's my community. I mean, obviously, I'm residing in Houston, Texas now, but Bossier City, it raised me, it reared me, it gave me my start. Obviously, growing up, single mother. Obviously, being reared, that was something that I felt that kind of gave me a little bit of an extra push. I mean, Dad was, obviously, active in it, in my life, but my mom, had the chore of raising me. But having an opportunity to, have really a strong community through the church, and being in church early, grandfather being a minister, got introduced to the church at an early age. And obviously that was something that was very profound and very impactful. But I will say, obviously the old saying that it takes a village, and definitely was a village to help to raise and rear me. And, basketball was my ticket. My mom introduced me to the game at an early age. And, I just kind of took it and I ran with it, Coach. And coming up through the ranks of Butler Elementary and Emmett Cope Junior High, obviously I, got me to Airline High School, where, it was like, you and I discussed earlier, it was a bit of a challenge. There were some challenging times at Airline. I wasn't probably, quite ready for the demands and the expectations that were placed upon me to be more well-rounded. When you're young like that, you dream of playing in the NBA or playing in the NFL if you're a football guy, or Major League Baseball, or whatever the case may be. So I really had a one-track mind. and kind of got behind a little bit. And I think I kind of, because I didn't excel in the classroom initially, I think that kind of ruffled some feathers. And so basketball was something that was a bit of a delay. I thought I would, hit my mark and walk in day one and have a great career and have a great year, and it didn't happen. So, but fortunately for me, Coach, I hung in there. I kept working. Like I said, didn't get an opportunity to play right away. But I'm not going to say I was patient. I probably was a little impatient, but I hung in there. I didn't give up, and I finally got an opportunity to play. And I think I finished up with the type of career that I thought that I would start off having. But I finished up, I think with a really solid year. And then obviously it took me on to the next level, which was college. But airline was definitely an experience that really helped to shape and mold me into the basketball player that I became. And obviously it's taken me to a lot of places for sure.
Fantastic. Well, Coach, most people, even today, have heard about the University of Houston and Hakeem Olajuwon and the Dream Team and that type thing. What was it like to play at the University of Houston? I mean, obviously, we shared with our audience earlier that you were two-time SWC all conference and things of that nature. But University of Houston is a far cry from Airline High School. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Well, Coach, growing up, I think most kids in Louisiana, uh, institution in our state. But for me, the funny thing, it was the University of Houston. There was a young player that was playing with Five Slammer and I'm sure you probably remember him. And Benny was from Bernice, Louisiana. And when I heard that he was from Louisiana, Coach, it was almost like a light switch went on. And I was like attracted and addicted to watching the University of Houston and watching Benny Anders, run up and down the floor and do these amazing dunks and lob dunks and hip dunks and just doing some really exciting things. And I said this is kind of where I wanted to go. And when I tell that story, people say, "Oh, yeah, right." But that was really a dream destination school for me. In the seventh, eighth, ninth grade. Um, and I didn't get there organically, directly from high school. I went to Northwestern State University for a year, and Tyler Junior College for a year, and then I ended up at the University of Houston, which was a blessing, a tremendous blessing. I had to pinch myself when I got there and I got on the court and was playing because it was kind of like, again, coming from a little small town. Um, a lot of us don't get the opportunity to do that coming out of Bossier City, but through hard work and perseverance and God's grace and mercy, I was able to go there and make a name for myself. And I was
Absolutely.
able to go and I took the that it was given to me, and I think I made the best of it. And again, it was a great time in my years, the best basketball that I'd ever played. Um, and really was pleased with what I was able to do. Aside from the individual accolades, and we were able to win games, and we had a real formidable team. So it was a great experience, a great time for me, and something that's had a tremendous amount of impact in my life and on this journey that I've been on. This game of basketball.
That's great, Coach. Now, transitioning from U of H, I mentioned earlier to my people, and when you see me looking up there here, I'm looking at my monitor, so I'm not looking away from you. But what I was mentioning to them about you playing in Australia, having had the opportunity to coach the Harlem Globetrotters for a season, and even coaching at Texas Southern for a while. What if you will? There's three different pieces here. Having to play in another country, and you played there for a period of 4 years when I'm looking at your information, and you played at Texas Southern, and you also played with the Harlem Globetrotters. Now, we all know that the Harlem Globetrotters are world renowned. Is there a comparison as far as basketball life in those three areas, or were they three different entities altogether?
Three different entities all together because there's three different phases, of my life. Playing was something that I still do in my 50s right now, Coach. I'm still waiting on that call from the NBA, believe it or not. I don't know if it's going to come, but I still, it's nothing wrong with dreaming, coach. So I'm still active in the game, but there's
Coach,
nothing that I've
may
done in
I
my life.
interrupt you a moment and
Yes.
say to you, I'm an old guy now, but I was there once, brother. I was there once, so don't feel badly. Please continue.
Yeah. But there's been nothing in my life, outside of my faith in God and my children that have brought me more joy than the game of basketball. So playing, it was just an exhilarating feeling for me, an experience that I can't even put into words how the game made me feel. So having an opportunity to play for pay was another blessing. But I'd always envisioned it, coach. I'd be not being truthful if I would tell you that it was a surprise that I had an opportunity to play somewhere. The NBA was obviously the goal and the dream, and that kind of fell short. I fell short of that goal, accomplishing that goal. But there's so many places to play basketball. So playing in Australia and some various other places was some of the best years of my life. Moving on to the coaching ranks, and obviously coaching at Texas Southern. I mean, obviously it's very familiar with it because it's 5 to 10 minutes away from the University of Houston. They're actually neighbors. So I was very familiar with the area in Third Ward because I'd gone to school there for the better part of 2.5 years. So that was a really, really good experience to get a chance to do that at a relatively young age. But that's different. Coaching and playing it's different. So that it was a different time, but I felt like I was ready for the opportunity to go and work at an HBCU and to be able to share some of the things that I had, learned as a player and some of the experiences that I had attained and being, in some foreign countries and getting a taste of the international life. I thought it was something that I could impart to the student athletes at Texas Southern. So that was, that was really, really, really a good situation for me. And obviously, the final piece was the time I spent with the Globetrotters. I think every kid, that has a sport mindset, grew up watching on Saturday mornings the Globetrotters, playing against the Washington Generals, Washington Nationals. So that was something that was a great experience for me because, like you said, it's world renowned. And it was a different brand of basketball, but it still was basketball, and I was able to learn some things and meet some good people. So I can't put that on my resume. It's something that very few people can put on their resume that they had an opportunity to work with the Harlem Globetrotters. So all three of those facets of my basketball life have been a blessing, coach, and just thankful that God allowed me to have an opportunity to be able to be sitting in those seats at those three different stages of my life.
Absolutely. Now, Coach, as we transition to Prairie View, allow me to say briefly is that you made a statement. You say, "Well, I'm still waiting on that call." Believe it or not, I believe it, and allow me to say because I have a lot of young people, and I'm proud that they are here that like to listen to my show. And dreams are just what they are called, dreams. And obviously, if we do not continue to pursue them, then heck, they'll never come. And we all know, and you know as well as I or anybody that's been an active NBA, NFL player, etc., is that many times it's numbers, timing, where you are, what the team may need at that particular moment, personalities. There are a lot of things that go into the process of actually self-actualizing, being an NBA player, being an NFL player, etc. So I just wanted to just share that little bit of wisdom with you, which I know you know, but I just wanted our young people to understand that never stop dreaming. I'm happy that you shared that. Now, as we transition into Prairie View, I mentioned earlier again that you've been two-time SWAC Coach of the Year, and Coach, I love talking about the HBCUs, and I have to preface this before we get your take on Prairie View and coming into the Prairie View HBCU. I often have to school my young audience on the fact that pre-integration, all of these players that they're jumping up and down, applauding, that's at the Texases, that's at the LSUs, etc. They're the same kids that would have been at Texas Southern. They're the same kids that would have been at Grambling, Alcorn, Southern University, etc. It's just a different time. So as you talk about coming into the HBCU, I want to share as well is that a lot of times, because our kids don't understand, is that the scouts are going to come where the players are. And so many times they get excited and don't think that they have an opportunity, a real opportunity to go to the next level, but they do. So as we transition to Prairie View, let's jump on that monster and let's talk about Prairie View A&M University Panthers.
Well, Coach, before I dive into that, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention to you that I'm a 3-time SWAC Coach of the Year.
3-time? Oh, I missed one. Sorry.
My mother would be mad at me if I didn't make
Correct that.
But yeah, but anyway, yeah, fortunate enough to get an opportunity to Prairie gave me an opportunity that many others wouldn't. Gave me an opportunity to be a Division I, a first-time Division I head coach. So I'm eternally grateful and thankful to that institution for showing the belief and faith to have me as the face of that program for the better part of 10 years. And I think you know this, Coach, as well as anyone that follows sports. Very difficult to stay in one place that long.
Absolutely.
So we've done some things right. I think we've done some good things. I think we've helped some kids be able to come in and have a great education, have an opportunity to get a great education, have a great basketball experience, and then transition out into everyday life and have great impact. So those are the 3 pillars of our program and our belief system for our program at Prairie View. We felt like we've done some good things. I think we've helped a lot of kids. We haven't been able to give them everything that they've wanted, but we've given them everything that we had to give and had everybody's best interest. Obviously, Prairie View is an HBCU that sits about 40 minutes outside of Houston. I'm sure you're aware of that, and about 40 minutes away from College Station. So we sit right in between Houston, Texas, and College Station, where Texas A&M is. And obviously, we're under the Texas A&M umbrella. You know, we're one of the, I think, the 12-member schools that make up the A&M system. We've got about 9,500 students. A beautiful campus, Coach. I mean, it is a gold mine. It's a beautiful campus. And like I say, our motto there is Prairie View produces productive people. And I believe in that, especially from the basketball standpoint, because that's what I'm committed to doing. But again, got that opportunity to become the head coach there in 2015 as an interim head coach, and obviously was able to create a little bit of a spark and was able to get the permanent job in 2016. And I've been there since. Like I said, we started out, it was like lightning in a bottle. We really hit the ground running and was able to, generate a lot of excitement and was able to get to the NCAA tournament for the first time in 23 years. And it's only been 2 programs at Prairie View in its existence for men's basketball that's been to the NCAA tournament. And, I'm one of the coaches that was fortunate enough to be able to get them there in 2019. Our numbers up again. It's been a while. We need to get back to the tournament. That's a goal for this year. But again, we've won some games. We've been competitive in almost every game that we've been in because of our effort, Coach. I mean, when you're playing against the Dukes and the Kansas and the U of H and Texas A&M and LSU's and UCLA's, I mean, sometimes they can be a daunting task. But I'm very proud to say that every game that we've ever been in that we weren't not supposed to win, we've been very, very competitive. We have won some facets in those games that we have played. Maybe not the final score, but we did win. In the midst of not having the most points on the board at the end of the night. So feel really good about the things that we've done. We feel really good about where we are right now at Prairie View. Got some more work to be done. But again, it's been a wonderful ride. I'm getting ready to go into my 12th year at the school, 11th as head coach. So again, I'm blessed and thankful for that opportunity. And obviously right outside of Houston, it's been special. It's been really special for me, and I had to transition and move my children around, which can be very difficult for kids that their parents are coaches. So I've been able to be in one place for a long time and been able to stay pretty central and still get back to Bossier City and see my mom. And the beautiful thing is she can watch most of our games, on some network. You know what I mean? So it's been a great ride for me, Coach. And but again, we had a couple down years, but it's time to kind of get back to doing what we do best, which is winning basketball games and having great impact and generating a lot of excitement through our basketball program.
Well, Coach, let me allow me to say this. My hat is always off, first of all, to young brothers such as yourself that persevere, that hang in there, and that keep swinging to that end. With you having the 2 sons, again, my hat is off to the coaches that balance that with their children
Mhm.
I, for whatever reason, God didn't see fit for me to father any sons. I had a lot of children, but they weren't mine biologically. I know it's difficult because these young men weren't going home with me, but your sons go home with you. So can you
Mhm.
elaborate just a little bit when it comes to being a dad? Some of the challenges when it comes to being a dad and coaching and having children. I mean, not just sons, but having children in total.
Yeah. Well, coach, one boy and one girl. All right, got one
Okay.
boy, one girl, a
Oh,
daughter,
I'm
which
sorry. One boy.
that's
You do
okay.
have a daughter.
No, no,
Okay.
no, no. Which is even it can be even more challenging, because the women, the young women, and the older women are the leaders of our society. They don't get the nod, they don't get the respect for being there, but obviously
Yes.
they are a staple. They're the backbone of all families. Um, and the message that the women have, that's the message they give to the children, and the children take out, and that becomes their thought process. So the role of a woman is extremely, extremely important. And I'm very proud again to have the mother, and I think we talked about my mother earlier, Miss Willie Mae Blackshaw, that still resides there in Bossier City, who's a hero to me and taught me the game. And if I can be half the parent that she was to me, to my children, I mean, I would be over the moon. But
Mm.
it's a very difficult position for children of coaches. Obviously, the time away from them and missing events and missing sporting events, dance recitals, different things that parent teacher conferences and things of that nature. You're not there as much as you want to be. So there's a certain amount of guilt that we all feel as coaches for our children because they want us to be there for them. They want to see the reaction on our faces when they do good.
Right.
And when you're not able to be there, obviously you feel guilt. But I think through conversation, explaining it, especially when they become of age, that this is kind of what dad has to do to be able to provide and to be able to give you guys the things that not necessarily that you want, but the things that you need to go out and to have a chance in life. This is something that's necessary. But one of the things that I've always tried to do, coach, I've always extended uh, my career and my coaching to my children, not to try to pressure them to become basketball players or to hang around me every day at the gym like some parents do, some dads do. But I've always allowed them to come and pretty much do what they want to do. They want to be there in the locker room, or they just want to sit in the stands, or they want to come down to practice, whatever the case may be. I've given them full autonomy to be able to, be involved in the way that they felt comfortable. But I've always made them feel that they matter. Time matters. I love them. I'm going to support them. And my biggest responsibility as a dad is to provide the right example by living right, by doing right, by going to church, by giving back to the community, by trying to help other people's children and things of that nature. Because I think karma's real, and I think you play things forward when you live right and you do right by other people's children. It'll come back your way. So my kids have been unbelievably supportive of my career. Every now and again, they tell me you did good, Dad, so that makes me smile. Um, and so yeah, but I've got two children, like I said, a son and a daughter, and they're both seniors in college. My daughter is a track athlete at Lamar University in Beaumont. My son is just a regular student, a business major at Texas State University in San Marcos. They're 10 months apart, but they both somehow end up finishing college in the same year. So unbelievably proud of their ascension and getting closer to the goals that they want to achieve. But they're very productive people. I don't dote and brag on them a lot, coach, but I am proud that they have made the choice to be something in life. But again, to answer your question, very tough role of a dad, tough role for the children to be a part of it. But I'm thankful. It could be better, but it also could be worse. But I think my relationship with my children is pretty strong, and I think they've allowed me to be coach and dad, at the same time.
Coach, listen, excellent answer. Because again, take it from an old guy. Brag all you want anytime you feel you get the opportunity. Because believe me, if they were doing things that were embarrassing you and the family, I guarantee you the world would be talking about it every day.
Absolutely.
So, as a dad, when you can give them those flowers, my brother, by all means. Listen, Coach, I don't want to keep you all night. The last question. Now, I know sometimes, recruiting can be a challenge. And with all of the major colleges and the NIL and that kind of thing, does it hurt the HBCUs? Does NIL, let me back the question up. Do you think, is what I should be asking, that NIL hurt the HBCUs, or is it an even playing field, or it really doesn't matter as far as recruiting goes?
To be honest, Coach, two answers to that. I think not only does it hurt HBCUs, I think it hurts college athletics as a whole,
Okay.
even the Power Five conference, even the PWIs, because I think what it has done, I think, a lot of these young kids, unfortunately, have traded in the dreams of becoming a pro NBA player or NFL player or Major League Baseball. They have a short term goal, and they're getting money like immediately. And I think it lessens their desire to work hard. Because, when I was coming up, I mean, the only way you're going to make money was to make it to the next level. So you worked your butt off every day, Coach, and you did as well to be able to get there. And it was so fulfilling for the ones that did get an opportunity to make money playing basketball. But now I think what it's done, it's kind of, again, I think it's lessened their desire to strive and to work hard because, Coach, it's very hard to work hard when you don't have to work.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
I think,
Yes.
but as it relates to the HBCUs, it's never really been a level playing field because the mainstream media has such impact. And when they speak, everybody listens.
Yes.
And I think a lot of our kids have kind of gotten the short end of the stick because they're not as good or whatever the case may be. But like you said, if you can play, they're going to come and find you. And I think we've got a really, really, really strong organization in HBCU athletics across the board. But obviously, with the dollars and cents don't match up at our level, we are losing kids to other, Power Five schools or schools that have these collectives and things like that. So yes, to answer your question, it has hurt HBCUs, but I think it's hurt our sport, our entire organization of intercollegiate athletics. And I think it needs to be more education. I think it needs to be more preparation from parents to be able to talk to their sons and daughters about the dangers of in uh, for some upfront money. The money will be there if you're good enough and you work hard enough, you persevere and you're patient. The opportunities are going to come. But I think there's going to be some changes coming up. With this NIL, I think they're going to start to regulate it a little bit more. I'd like to see maybe deferred payments, maybe if they sign with a school and, the schools agree to give them X amount of dollars or whatever the case may be, maybe that can be put away in some type of an annuity where they can't get it right away. It'll be, almost like a pension, that it'll be there when they get 45 or 55, whatever the case may be. That way, it's not like they're just going through and they're just going to go out and buy this and buy that, things like that. They can really have a solid foundation. They can have something they can fall back on, years down the line because they're going to need it. They're going to need it. If you get $200,000 or if you get $2 million, there's a good chance in, 10, 15 years, it's probably going to dwindle. But if they could take some of it, give them some money to be able to live off of and to be comfortable. You want to reward them for their hard work, especially if they're special, if they're an athlete. There's nothing wrong with that. But I definitely think some type of a deferred payment would kind of get these young people a little bit more focused on the main thing, which is getting a degree and then pursuing a cap, somewhere, either the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, whatever the case may be. So, because we could talk for hours about this, because all the coaches are talking about it, that, we got to figure out a way to be able to get this thing regulated and level this playing field to where everybody has an opportunity to put out good players on the floor and have a chance to ultimately win, which is why we do what we do, to educate these players, win games, and again, have them transition out into everyday life and have great impact and be able to talk to someone around their age or someone that's kind of coming up, not around their age, but someone that's kind of coming up and to try to educate them. And I think that's how we can evoke change is working with these student athletes right now so they can go back and they can help some of the younger people that are coming up after them.
Wow, fantastic, Coach. I'm acting like a Baptist preacher now when the preacher say, I'm going to stop now, but I have to ask this last question.
Absolutely. I'm fine. I'm here as long as you need me, Coach.
Listen, when it comes to coaching, and I looking at your resume, obviously you've been extremely successful throughout your career. But I've always had a pet peeve when I hear people call coaches the best thing since sliced bread when you have all of the horses. Now, is it personal? Yes, I've been very blessed. Let me say that this show is not about me. I've been very blessed. I've been involved with high school state championships, national championships as a football player, in NFL, in and out. So I'm not saying this because of sour grapes, but when we talk of HBCUs, and when we hear people a lot of times talk about, well, this kid, is going to get some great coaching. I'll just say at A&M, since you're in the A&M system. Sometimes I have seen it hurt our coaches in our HBCUs because, as you said, if the sportscasters say certain things, then that's who people are going to listen to. And many times you have great coaches like the Byron Smiths of the world who would get some more of the horses if they really understood and it was not prejudicial that they had to go to A&M to get some great coaching as opposed to coming and playing for you. Have you ever thought about that process or wondered what it would be like sometimes to be in a position where you could use the expertise that you have and get more of the top players coming out of the state of Texas or any other place else for that matter?
Absolutely. And so, Coach, again, I've been blessed and I was fortunate enough to work at A&M, the Texas A&M in the Big 12 for the better part of 2 years. So I kind of been on both sides of it. Obviously, when I was at A&M, this NIL, this pay for play, wasn't in place. But obviously, you wish that you could kind of change that narrative a little bit. And I think that comes through education. I think that comes through, trying to get, some of the powers that be, the media, to get them to come to your campus to have conversations like what I'm doing right now to kind of, hear my thought process. It's not about me, but I'm saying any coach to listen to that coach, to hear his thought process, how he goes about running his program, his values, his core values, what's important to him. Because at the end of the day, right now, these kids don't really care about, how large the arena is, what apparel deal, if it's Adidas, if it's Nike, if it's Under Armour. Some of them really kind of forget, what plan do you have? How are you going to use me? How are you going to make me better, coach? How are you going to get me ready for the NBA or for the NFL or for Major League Baseball? It's right now, it's really about what can you do for me right now? Not coach. If I had a $500,000 or $1 million collected to where I had that type of money to be able to go out and pay players, then I wouldn't do it. Because that's kind of the space that we're in right now, right?
Yes.
But I will say
Yes.
this: if I did have more chips, I think that maybe my name would be mentioned in the likes of the Kelvin Sampsons and the Rick Barneses, some of the Bill Self, some of the Nate Oates, the great coaches in college basketball right now. Because at the end of the day, it's all about getting these kids to understand what their strengths and weaknesses are. I'm never going to say that coaching is overrated, but right now it's really about managing egos and getting these kids to understand what they do well and to play as a team, because ultimately that's where they're going to get the most attention. Nobody wants the best player on a bad team, coach. I think you know that. Nobody wants a guy that's averaging 30 points a game and his team hadn't won any games.
Right.
Does your play impact winning? And so for me, if I were in a position, to be able to have a little bit more incentive to incentivize players, I definitely do that because, about and it's hard work. Um, I think I coach the game as well as anyone because it's only so much that you can do. I mean, we all pretty much are going to run a lot of the same plays, and offense and defense is all relative. But at the end of the day, are you making players better? Are you getting them to be able to focus on their strengths, to continue to try to enhance their weaknesses, but to play as a team? But I definitely think that, again, mainstream media has a tremendous impact on all of us. When they talk, people listen. Not to be negative, coach, but I think you know this. A lot of these guys that are on TV, they're friends with a lot of these top coaches. Um, and my thing is, I'm a little bit old probably to be trying to make new friends. Um, Melvin Lars is a friend of mine, so feel good about that.
Absolutely.
Um, but I'm kind of a younger guy, but I'm a little bit old school. I believe it's your merit. Are you productive? Are you winning games? I think that should be what solidifies or determines who's a good coach, not just because Joe Blow was on ESPN saying this guy is the greatest thing since sliced bread. It's your record. Are you developing players? Are your players leaving your program, having a career when they leave your program? Those are the things I think that matter. But obviously, if more resources were there, Coach, I definitely think we would be having a different conversation, about, the success I had or even having more success. I think that's across the board for a lot of coaches.
Wow, fantastic. Coach Smith, this has been great, brother. This has been great. We're going to have to do this again. I certainly want to thank you so very much for taking the time to come and visit with us on the Nobody Asked Me Guy show. Coach, is there anything you'd like to leave us with?
Coach, I like leaving a lot of things, but I guess, again, I want to tell you how proud I am of you. I've heard your name a lot. We've met, years back. But you're definitely a pioneer, and I'm proud of you for doing something and giving back to young people, giving back to society, giving back to North Louisiana. I want to say hello to my community back home. Hopefully some of them are watching. But I love Bossier City. I love North Louisiana. Obviously, they've been the village. They've been my mother, obviously been the wind beneath my wings, and she's given me that extra push. And the two greatest things I'm gonna say to this coach that she did for me was that she gave me the belief that I can be something, I can make something of myself. Coming from a tough background, obviously she had to go out and do what she had to do to try to make things better for me. But I think the area that we're from, in Scott Street and things like that, was a very, very difficult area to grow up in. But I was able to be there for a little bit, but obviously we moved out. But I'm so thankful to my mother for being the person that she was and having a tough role and rearing me and raising me. But she did an unbelievable job and did the best that she could. But also, she introduced me to something at a young age. Coach Laws, I tell the story all the time. She introduced me to watching a guy that was playing in the NBA. And she said, hey, you know what? You really need to watch this guy. And it's not so much about how he played the game of basketball, Coach, it's how he carried himself with class and dignity and an elegant guy. And the guy's name was Julius Erving, Dr. J.
Absolutely.
At a young age. And for the rest of my young days, that's who I wanted to be. And it wasn't so much about him flying through the air dunking. It was that what he had to say, his thought process, how he carried himself. He was a class act with tremendous sportsmanship, super articulate and elegant. And I studied him, and I wanted to be so much like him. And then obviously after that, Muhammad Ali. So the list kind of goes on and on. But that was the first tangible athlete that she introduced to me that I followed. And I'm so thankful that she did that. And Coach, believe it or not, I had the opportunity to meet him in person one day when I was about 30, 31 years old. And it was like a kid in a candy store. So it was like one of the best days of my life. So again, I want to thank you for the opportunity. I want to thank my community for helping me and praying for me. And, I'm just grateful. I'm blessed. And there's so much to be thankful for. And anytime, Coach, I can do this with you, please feel free to call because I enjoy this part of the business, being able to share and give back. But definitely thank you. And God bless you for the opportunity.
Well, Coach, it's certainly been a blessing to have you here, and it's certainly been informational, and we are happy that you're here. And listen, we know that Bossier City is proud of you. And let me say, there's no biting my tongue. Your mom is an icon. She's a local icon, man. She's always been a go-getter, and she's always been strong on education. And I know you told me that you get reminded from time to time about her basketball prowess when she was younger. So I'm going to remind you again. But listen, Coach, it has been a pleasure. You've done an excellent, excellent job. And it's just always great to see young men and women stand up and keep the torch burning, because that's what's important, is that we keep the torch burning. And you certainly are a testament to that. And you are certainly a credit to the world. And a lot of times people say, well, they're a credit to their community. No, you're a credit to the world, because what you do, the things you share, how you work with the young people, the way you carry yourself, the way you present yourself, speaks to the masses. So it's certainly been great having you here. And we just want to say again for our audience, oh man, listen, you've been getting hearts and thumbs and stuff going up the entire time. And usually, Coach, they ask questions, but you did an excellent job, man. Nobody put a question in there. Wow. Okay, that's great. So, Coach Smith, it's been great, my brother, and we're just happy that you're here. And we will ask you with no shame. Ask your friends, man. Tell them, hey, man, you guys need to check out the Nobody Asked Me Guy Show podcast on YouTube. like and follow that brother, subscribe to our channel. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been great having you here, and we look forward to seeing you again. Coach Smith, have a great and blessed night, sir.
Likewise, Coach. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.